Welcome back to another Cash Game World Championship, this time for mid-stakes no limit hold'em. We've increased the prize pool and redistributed it, creating more winners. But the premise is the same. No rake, and the best in their game format battling it out for the cash and the glory. On today's video, high-stakes Cash Game World Champion Owen Messere gives his insight into the absolute sickest hands played by our competitors over the incredible 300,000 hands played on up to 40 simultaneous tables during the first week alone of this event. High-stakes Sicko Sefan has returned to the felt, and we will share several of his hands, including the biggest pot played in the entire championship so far. Owen and I discussed several topics, including the Coin Poker weekly VIP game, and we join the interview now as that topic wraps up. 5 people qualify for the game, and one of the methods of qualification was submitting the coolest hand, and whichever person played the coolest hand of the week was the one that made it into the game. So I'm going to show you, Owen, some of the submissions. And I'd like you to eventually, at the end of this, remind me, give me your opinion on which hand you think is the coolest. I'm just going to start full random order, and you tell me what you think of some of these hands, okay? I'll pause whenever it seems appropriate. Okay, so a 10 and a 9, probably looking to play defense. Off to a flop. What do we got? Okay, we've got a gutty.
Someone just submitted a tight fold pre.
Sorry? Yeah,
It would be
fold
brave.
pre.
Yeah.
Coolest hand ever. Laid down the big blind. Respect. I knew he had it. All right, so we're going to see a C-bet. We're going to see a check raise. We're going to see a re-raise. So tell me a little bit about this already. Like the 3-bet on flop, I know we've discussed some other spot, probably a different one, where a flop 3-bet wasn't really a move we would see. But how does it play on this board? In this position?
Yeah, it's been a while since I've looked at low jack sims, I'll be honest. That position's a bit fake. I mean, there are definitely some hands it makes sense to 3-bet, like, you know, the lower overpairs. Like obviously trips is strong enough to. It's, like trips could also slow play, it's fairly invulnerable, but you could 3-bet trips. But yeah, 3-betting some of the low overpairs for protection would make some sense. You could even just like re-raise a 6 to deny equity from random backdoors.
Okay, so you don't mind the concept of a flop 3-bet in this situation, it sounds like.
Yeah, I don't mind it, and also even if it, like, I don't imagine it's a massive part of the strategy, but it's, you know, I know that if someone did this against me in this spot, I would have to, you know, I have to start thinking on my feet at this point, right? So if you've got a lot of experience running the 3-bet, then you're going to put people in some spots which they're a little bit less familiar with. Like Davey's a big fan of doing all this kind of stuff and like clicking you around and just taking you into parts of the game tree which he has more experience at than you, so he can make it work even if it's not a big solver thing.
What do you think about a 4-bet, mate?
Yeah. It's just like shades of me and Flushy. If you took the nameplates away, we had a hand something like this.
Very old school.
Well, I think
this kind of feeling from my perspective.
I had like, I remember I had like an underpair and he had ace high. We got very clicky on the flop. I think he like 5-bet me and I called or something. Like, so yeah, I can definitely appreciate the click wall here.
So we're going to see a turn, 10-9, fires again, respect, gets called, queen on the river, absolutely god-awful, an 8 never folding, rams it in, his opponent mucks a pocket 10s, which was getting sticky. So able to call a turn bet, probably pretty marginal on the turn, I guess, but yeah, gets muscled off by tea time, who just commits, doesn't give a single fuck. So I guess no real need to summarize this because we have several hands. You know, maybe not a GTO play here, but a fun one. 4 bets on the flop. Respect.
Yeah.
Jack
I was wondering
10.
if we were going to see like a check call on the river against pocket 7.
Yeah. Well, he might have got an entry into the VIP game for such a play, if that's the line that he took. This time we've got Randy Marsh, aka Dad Jokes. Is check calling a C-bet here with second pair. Turns a gut shot.
So far, good.
All right, he's going to face a bit of a bet here. How do you feel in this spot?
Piles then.
You guess he piles. You're going to guess wrong. Okay, I'm just going to play this one through. Feel free to comment after you see the hand. So he's going to check call, and he's just going to find the blockerless rip here. I mean, it's pretty hard to have a single heart hand, though, right? What he would have had to call flop and turn with pocket tens with a heart. It's pretty optimistic. You can't really have like any. I guess he could have had ace jack off, but now what? That would be two pair with jack of hearts. I don't think he's going to donk bluff that. So he's going to select this hand for a river donk rip. So kind of a cool play. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely an interesting play. Strikes me as a touch suicidal, but like,
He
I
runs
mean,
into pocket aces,
yeah.
but they fold.
Wait, what?
So interesting
Oh my
stuff.
God. Okay.
Interesting stuff.
Well, this guy deserved his fucking seat. Getting. Uh, I would have called so quick I wouldn't have even realized that I might be beat.
Yeah, still,
Oh,
I think it's a very interesting bluff because it's hard for him to have a one heart hand. And
yeah,
then
yeah,
he's
yeah.
just like choosing to turn something that makes sense into a bluff. I mean, he does also block ace jack of clubs.
I would say
Interesting
though
hand.
that from I mean I haven't been playing really. I mean I played a little, but I've watched some and I've also seen hands posted by a bunch of people who I know are involved. Um, there's been some really aggressive creative bluffs that have been run. Um, like I kind of thought going into it that it would be like quite timid compared to the high stakes one, but I feel like the main difference has been like the high stakes one was there was a lot more technical play, but like a lot of these guys are here to fucking fight,
Yes,
they're like
absolutely.
so I think
You'll probably see
yeah,
crazier
like
shit in this.
yeah, given how much wild shit I've seen going on, I think this fold of aces is a bit absurd.
Yep, I agree with that. It's a familiar face at the table here, Joe Adams. Stepping down and enjoying some
Got
500.
Collie involved as well.
Okay, so card runner peeling a C bet. The 4-bet pot. Check, check on the turn. And going to station off a jam here on the river. Thoughts about this out of interest? Like, is it possible that this play is approved? Do we love the ace of diamonds and the 10 of diamonds that much? Blocking some potential 4-bets, making full houses here.
Uh,
Or is there just no need to call something less than a queen here, for example?
yeah, I mean it's quite an interesting spot because it intuitively to me it feels like if you're only calling boats you're overfolding, but then it's quite hard for our position to actually have a bluff here, which ace high beats. Um, so yeah, I mean like he's just hoping to see jacks, right? But
Jacks feels like that's not necessary to bluff, right?
well, I mean, how does he have worse
He has to
than
have
Jack
10s
High
or
here?
9s.
Yeah, but like he's not four betting those pre.
Is he not? Do people not 4-bet those
Well,
hands?
I mean, they'll be in there, but low frequency. Um,
Yeah.
so like yeah, it like 10% of pocket nines or whatever it is. And then some like yeah, I don't know. It's really hard for. I
I
mean,
mean, club
I guess
diamond
Jacks,
jacks
but like even
is a pretty
Jacks is
good
only
bluff.
like sorry.
Club diamond jacks would make a decent amount of sense to bluff with.
I mean, I think if I got her with Jacks, I would just pile them. Uh, like it doesn't feel like you have that because it's mixed frequency pre as well. Like it flats the free bet quite often. Um, so I don't think you have to regulate your frequencies with
So
jacks
you
here.
could even potentially see yourself bluffing with an ace high on the river as the dogman.
Well that's what I'm wondering because I was thinking if so he doesn't really have that many of these under pairs. Um, so So then it almost seems like an ace high might be part of the bluffing range. Um, but
There's also like
yeah,
quite a
I
lot
don't
of
know. I'm not
merit to
sure.
hands in
It
this
it is
range
also
checking.
I don't know. Maybe I'm overestimating how much value they have here. And that they're actually because like a lot of the value bets are kind of blocked by the board, but at the same time, it's like it's so easy to find the slow plays on this sort of texture. Um, it's definitely an interesting call. I think also actually something I've noticed is that people are just four betting a lot more. Uh, so oh yeah, he's got the 10% pocket nines or whatever. So yeah, so maybe they have like jacks pure here. Because I saw like the pre-flop is has seemed very aggressive whenever I've tuned in. Yeah, I think it's because they're all used to playing like free bet or fold in like high rake environments. So like they're all playing free bet or fold, but just with a wider range. And then the four bets are getting really wide. Play back at it. And then like they're like four bet calling off. I wonder what his plan with nines was if he got shoved on free. Um,
Yeah, yeah, interesting.
interesting hand. Yeah, yeah, I quite like that one. Even though like I'm not sure, but I kind of like I like the ballsiness of it, regardless of whether it's good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, I think that's one of the cool things about this mid-sex event is you certainly see people that are willing to make ballsy plays. So here we go to pocket threes, just sort of firing away.
Yeah.
Kind of classic
Circling off an underpair.
on a board like this. And then on the river, we got the $90 pot. We're going to see the $717 jam here. And I'm not sure if you know that this guy Gambler is also known as
Yeah, that's Ryan Risk, right?
exactly Ryan Risk. So interesting move. Thoughts on this move?
Uh, yeah, this is actually kind of a cool find to have this line in here. What he's gonna have he's got like six ace king and then one combo of jack, which he's gonna need to. Well, actually, it's less than trying to get an ace to
Queen
be
10 of
indifferent.
hearts.
So, oh yeah, yeah. So he's got the royal, one combo of quads, because like he can never have like aces when Sherry Suite's considering calling, because he'll only have a call with an ace, right? And then and then oh, what's he have? He's only gonna have three ace kings actually, because it'll be blocked by the ace. So he has five combos. He has five combos of nuts here. Um, yeah, and you can't really count on the other person to play an aggressive raising strategy against you here. It's not like they're gonna go and check raise an ace very confidently. Like just feels like a reverse free roll in their shoes. Um, yeah, like what was trying to get value from. So and it's not he doesn't really have like a regular ace that often either. I mean he can have some like ace. Well, like do ace queen and ace 10 bet a turn. I mean they're free rolling the other ace x because of their gut shot actually. So maybe they bet the turn, and they can also bet against like I don't know the combo draws or like clubs whatever.
Right, and just
So
to
so yeah
clarify what you're saying, Owen, you were saying to the viewers that Ryan Risk is not that likely to be bluffing off the chop with an ace himself. Is that what you're saying?
well it's one he doesn't have that many hands to bluff off the chop, and then also two, if you don't actually have a regular ace that often, then you don't really need to protect that size with your absolute top range hands. I say protect that size. I just don't like. I mean, the big blind basically is never going to have a raising range when when you bet here. Um, so yeah, the more I'm looking at this, the more I like really like finding this jam size. And this is like so scary if you're in the big blind because you're sat there like, oh wait, I have top boat. He knows I have top boat, and yet still he's going like 8x pot. And like it's kind of a bit of a scary spot to find yourself in, like because he knows what you have. There's not it's not like you sneakily got here with the nuts. Like he's very clearly saying that he's being like greedy as fuck and just wants your whole stack. Like unlucky. Um, yeah, this one's really cool actually. Yeah, I thought I was gonna be unimpressed by this hand because I was like, oh, whoop-de-doo, he tripled off an underpair from the low jack.
Right.
But the way he did it, no, this is quite flat. Yeah. This one's my favorite so far.
Yeah. He actually sent me this hand. I didn't know that his opponent was folding this at the time that he sent it because he just sent a screenshot. And I just looked at it briefly. I didn't really look at the sizings. I was just like, yeah, okay, you triple off, fucking whatever. You're drawing dead to win.
Yeah.
That's actually what I said to him. He's drawing dead to win. But yeah, upon further inspection, very interesting hand, very cool line, and like honestly, pretty understandable fold by his opponent. Doesn't feel like an amazing
I
spot
mean,
to call down.
yeah, I can see why he was scared in that spot. That's definitely like how many times if you flick in that call versus like
You feel
average
like a
opponent
complete
that you
idiot
actually
paying them
see.
off as well. It's definitely a tilting moment. You're sitting there. If
Yeah,
you're me, you're
yeah,
sitting there and you're saying, "Man, it's so fucking face up. This guy's so face up. He's never bluffing for the sizing. He's full greeting." You know, I'm just sitting there on tilt after paying that off if I call that.
yeah.
So
Yeah, it's
well
like
played to the
it's
man who
kind of
has
like
it in a field. Sorry, who doesn't have it in a field of people who do.
yeah. I mean, I think honestly, it's like to some extent he got like owned, but not really. As in, I think the guy with ace eight made like a very understandable play, and then like the freeze is like a really nice play, just trusting your opponent to like trusting your opponent to have gone through that trauma too many times.
Yeah, it's a
Um,
respect jam from threes. I think he's saying to his opponent,
yeah.
You are
You
better
can't
than
do
a
that at your local
station
casino.
reg. Yeah, you are superior than a station reg. I think you're gonna think
Yeah,
here. I think you're gonna fold.
if you do that at the local casino, there's like,
You're getting beaten into the
yeah,
pot. I guess we're chopping. They say question mark as they put in everything they have in front of them.
yeah. You can do like 50x pot and they'd snap you off.
All right, check this hand out. This is an interesting one. We've got the Venator in the house. This is an interesting player to keep an eye on.
Yeah, I think I've played a fair bit against this guy. This guy was red
Oh, really?
battling 5k.
This guy may be my favorite player in the event so far, actually. Anyway, check out this line from him. So a little check down action. He's found himself with some straight blockers. He's going to raise the river. He's going to get 3-balled. He's going to send home a river 4-bet. His opponent was bluffing and isn't able to find the
like,
magical hero call.
fuck is he repping? What?
I don't know.
What is
I guess he's repping like. I mean, yeah, sort of nothing. He'd have to have opened 7-5 suited under the gun, basically.
Yeah, literally, like.
He's
I
certainly not
mean, does
ripping
pocket
5
sixes
deuce.
come over the top here?
Absolutely not.
Maybe,
There's no
maybe
world that he
he
comes over the
thinks with
top with
his image
sixes.
he can, but I don't think it's.
I think it would be a crazy rejam with sixes, like after facing a river 3-bet from like a random mid-stakes player on a
Yeah. I
board where
mean,
they can have a bunch of straights. It just doesn't make any
yeah.
sense.
I mean, I don't really like this one. I think he's pretty lucky. The other guy was like that. He just rebluffed him.
Well, I think no, but I think he might just have found like also like a perfect thought here that his opponent is full polar to a straight anyway for this river 3-bet. I mean, so maybe with that in mind, he's
I
supposed to
don't
just
know.
click, like instead of jamming, he could just click because he's basically trying to fold his opponent off a 5-6 or
Yeah,
9-5, making a river 3-bet
his
bluff.
is it no? He could have like king 9 or king 6 for this. He could have, yeah. I don't think those hands are unreasonable. Like I think even 6-4 like or 6-3 is pretty reasonable to free bet here. Like, how you beat when you have 6-3? You just like you lose to the rivered pocket
Okay,
sixes and
right,
king
because
6.
he has to raise like every king here, considering the block bet and everything,
Yeah, yeah.
and
This is like
possibly some
raising.
worse
This could
hands,
be raising thinner than a king here. Like he could be raising like pocket
tens or
queens.
whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a massive river re-raise. I don't know. It's an
So
interesting
so
one, man.
yeah,
It's
I
an
think
interesting one. Like when he jams
I
over it,
mean
his opponent could just say to himself, "Well, I have straights here," you know. But that could be a thought. I'm gonna wait for a straight to. I mean, that's probably too tight, but you get the point. He could say to himself, "I'll call with better hands in my range, which I do have, than what I have now. I'll fold this two pair," and
counting
maybe
on
that's
someone
why
to go,
Venator
oh,
wants to hold the
I
fives.
could have the nuts here, but it's like what the fuck is he rapping?
Yeah,
Like what
that's the
is?
hard part. What is he repping? I mean, honestly, though, I'll say this: there is a chance Venator opens some percent of 7-5 suited under the gun.
I mean, it's just it's just like even if he slow played the turn with kings, which I don't think is likely, but sure, that it is
It's thin
like
to jam.
can you come over the top with kings
Yeah,
here against
yeah. So a very
I
interesting
mean
play, nonetheless. Submitted
maybe
by Venator.
actually you probably can finish. I was just talking about
Actually,
how
respect to his opponent. His opponent actually submitted this play for him. I remember that now. So he lost the pot and he posted it. He's like, he's just giving respect to the guy, which is potentially why he called himself too gay for you. Showing a lot of respect there to his opponent who just fucked him in the ass. All right, check this one out. This is an interesting one, if I recall correctly. So we're sitting here. We're facing down Stefan. I actually think, hold on, I might have to edit this out. I think that this hand is the same as another hand. Let me just have a think. No, it's not. Okay. Okay, my bad. We'll continue with that. Okay, so we're facing down Stefan. We've flopped top pair, and we face this bet sizing. And I know that overbetting on these ace queen and ace king and ace jack high boards, button big blind, is absolutely a thing. But Owen, what are your thoughts on this particular sizing? So what's that, 225% approximately?
yeah, very Steffi approved. Tell you what, one time I played him heads up, he only used block bets for like the whole session.
I guess he tries different things, you know, and I like that about any player is creativity
Yeah, I
and
mean,
being
yeah,
willing to try
it's
things with
fun to
money on
watch.
the
It's not
line.
exactly sound, but
So anyway, he's not going to fold the flop, which is understandable. And then he's going to face a continuation turn c-bet of pot. At this point, let's not talk in theory, actually. Let's just talk straight up. You're against Stefan here. Are you folding?
um, I mean, you'd much rather have some out. Like even though it blocks bluffs, I'd rather have like ace nine and ace jack, like we ace seven. Whereas this is very often dead. I don't know. I mean, on the one hand, it's tempting to just never ever fold to Stefan, but also at the same time, he goes like raise the thing for value, especially if he feels like like you're stationing him.
So you wouldn't be shocked to see ace jack here, for example. That would be
Yeah,
reasonably
yeah,
standard.
yeah. If he had ace jack here, I would. Yeah, I mean, he knows his own image, right? Um. Also, I mean, we improve on the gate some. Like, if we have ace eight off, we could call the flop with some queen eight combos as well. Like, yeah, queen eight, queen nine makes sense as flop calls. They're making clean two pairs and they have outs. If you're gonna call some queen eights, those ones kind of make sense.
Okay. So you're a little bit undecided on the turn.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's hard. It's hard to say these things when you're not in game. Whether you're like sticking around or not. Like, I mean, maybe in game I would have a stronger opinion, but just watching how I would make calls.
How do you feel about the river? Is this enough of a river to talk you out of a call down? Or are you just going to
Uh,
call some percent of the time you've come here with a hand like this that unblocks some of the bluffs,
I
etc.?
I I suspect that I suspect that that well, I mean, I don't have any evidence for this. I suspect that this guy made up his mind a long time ago.
Yeah,
You
probably.
know? Yeah.
As soon as he
I
saw
don't
the flop
think.
C, but it was strapping in with the
Yeah, yeah,
seatbelt. Let's see if we can win a
yeah.
stack
It's
here.
it's really nicely played hand.
Yep.
Step out. Cool down.
This is our leader, by the way, La Flama Blanca. They're currently leading the event.
Oh, he's at the top.
Yep.
Yeah. See, those are the call downs to triples, which feel very easy to make when you're, you know, if you're down in the dumps, it's easy to doubt those ones.
I can't remember this hand offhand. Ah, yes, this is interesting so far. So this guy's going to face a 3-bet from the button, I think just a standard size. And then he's going to open up with a flop lead here on the 6-5-3 flushy from under the gun versus BB. So maybe just tell the viewers a little bit about a flop lead on this particular board. I mean, to me, this board's not 7-8-9. It's not
Yeah.
5-6-7. It's a little bit on the low end. Like, can we be doing these type of plays like as wide as he is? It looks like he's basically range donking when he's betting a hand like this. What are some
Like
thoughts on
from
that?
under the gun on this board and for this size, this seems out of line. If he went a lot smaller, but also yeah, 6-5-3, not that like it's not that connected in these relative. Um, yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't know. It feels off to me, but yeah, been a while since I looked at the Jack said, but yeah,
All right.
it feels like you would need something more like. Also, it just be it like it being 6-5-3 rather than like 6-5-4 is like is quite relevant as well. Like a lot of, I mean, there's like more nuts on 6-5-4, but then also your like pocket pairs and your suited connectors like hit the board a little bit harder. Like pocket sevens here being like just a gut shot, but on 6-4 it would have and
Mm-hmm.
like pocket eights is like pretty weak hand here to be honest. Given how tight the ranges are, despite being an overpair, so like having an extra gut shot to go along with it that would go along.
Yep.
Uh,
All right. So anyway, he's going to get peeled. Turn's going to be a deuce, and he's going to say, great card for me. I'm going to continue ahead, put your ace highs to the test, I guess. And he's sort of repping a range that to me looks like he's still saying, hey, I'm betting pocket tens. I don't really care.
yeah, I mean the size is could be off about this, but this size just feels weird. Because when he leads 40% and then he barrels like, yeah, this is 40%. Um, kind of feels like I would want to have either a smaller or a bigger size. Um, it's like you're value betting pocket tens, but like against what? You need to go quite like you need to make sure you're getting paid by ace queen. Those are the hands you're trying to get value from. And it's not like imposition's going to be like doing tons of fast playing with like their strong over. So I feel like I would rather either see a smaller size or see like a really polar size, which just tells them that like oh like aces is dead. Like, I feel like this is intuitively to me this seems a little bit in no man's land. When you take like the 40 flop and turn, I'd rather say a bit more towards like quarter pot on both streets. Um, for the more like equity realization, but yeah, it could be. It's not miles off.
He's going to face a raise here on the turn. So pretty spicy. What do you think in position's up to here? Is this a legitimate play where he says, okay, you're obviously repping a range that's value betting a single pair quite a bit. I'm going to, put that to the test with higher pairs in my own range, or is it a more polar spot where he's trying to pretend he has a straight? Like what's going on here?
Yeah, I mean, this is mostly. I mean, the size is really repping an equity denial raising range. It feels a bit impatient to me. Like he wants to play back now, and I think, I mean, he's typically either going to have a hand which is really like quite strong and invulnerable, or like invulnerable. Well, not completely invulnerable, but Jack's flats quite often pre in these, right? Like his high frequency overpairs are like queens, kings, aces, so they're not. And if he was gonna like fast play them, he often would have like removed a bunch of the overpairs that he wanted to stack off on flop. So it kind of feels like he's most often just gonna have a hand which can just keep calling in position. Being said, doing a little bit of playback for like equity denial and make sure that people can't just keep betting and like just like bet their way through the
Yeah.
hand.
It's an interesting click. I'm not sure how I feel about it, but what it could certainly do is put a range that's not well constructed into a bad spot. So I find that element of it interesting, but I find the play overall a bit unintuitive and possibly, just
I mean,
wrong.
I could see it being a thing. I just wonder. Yeah, I just wonder whether this is a part of their strategy or they're just sort of like lashing out. Because like they've been like led into, barreled into, despite being the free better, and like they're just facing an annoying size, which they're like, fuck this, I don't want to keep like floating this, like so, and
Yeah,
it's just like,
it's an
I'm just gonna
interesting
try and
one
win
for
the pot
sure.
now. Yeah, I
He's going to
mean,
get called. Oh no, sorry, he's not going to get called. He's going to get
yeah, I mean, I
re-raised
would
here.
much rather this than the call. Yeah,
It's hard to call with 10-9 no draw. He's going to re-raise, get called, and then on brick. Sorry, not even really a brick. I mean, it's a brick
yeah. I
in this
mean, like, why do?
situation.
Yeah, well,
He is
why did
going
we
to
come all this
send it
way?
home. So just praying for the best here, and he gets the good
Yeah,
news. The opponent had a draw
yeah.
for the turn click and didn't call it off on the river. So fair enough, I guess. But yeah, strange hand.
Yeah, I can definitely see. I can see. Yeah, I can see why he wanted to. It did have a feeling of like the other guy was just like, I don't know, just like
Yeah,
stop
it
trying
was
to
a
fucking
leveling war
bully
spot for
me.
sure.
I'm the free better, and so then he was like back over the top. Yeah, it's a funny one.
We've got a
Yeah,
few more
so
submissions. So
like
these,
yeah, so
yeah.
that's kind of what I mean by when I've been tuning into this. As
Mhm.
in, like, it's not the most technically accurate hand, I think, at least. I mean, maybe I'm gonna look it up afterwards. And these flop and turn sizes are amazing. But I mean, the combo selection's got it like also a bit like pretty out there. Um, but then, but it does just show like someone just going for it fearlessly when they sense a bit of weakness. Um, Also, yeah, it was both players. Like the guy with Ace King clearly sensed he was being fucked with, but he just like he sort of didn't find the right way to deal with that. And because of that, like he gave away how weak he was. Because yeah, like they're obviously they're pretty. It's a pretty Wild West spot.
Yeah, man, it's
And
really
so
it's quite old school in that sense, you know. People just thinking the
yeah,
other guy doesn't have it, is repping a weird one, trying to
yeah.
attack
Who blinks
them. The
first?
other guy,
Game of chicken.
exactly. Whoever clicks last wins. So it's a cool hand.
Yeah.
Over here we've got pocket jacks. I don't recall this hand at the moment. Let's see what exactly develops here with the jokers. Okay, so it's going to be a lower SPR spot squeezed. Okay, it's ace 3 deuce. Quarter pot Siba into 2 players. Is this standard out of interest? Is this acceptable play or is this kind of cooked already?
Feels
How's your squeezed spot knowledge on right now?
yeah. I mean, this feels like really saying you want to do a jack, but at the same time, like I mean, I guess he's tripling off
Let's have a
as
look,
well,
mate.
and he's just using Jack's bluff because it's decent blockers. Like it's a draw to it's a draw to a set, right? And he has no real idea
Also
mean, when
got
you're
a
all
straight draw. You could hit a 4.
yeah, well,
Anyway,
yeah, like when you're all the way on the flop, Jack's like a really long way away from showing down.
yeah, especially
So
into 2 opponents. Anyway, he's going to
yeah,
quarter flop, quarter turn. He's going to check river. He's going to face a jam for 2/3, and he's going to somehow call.
what is going on?
Okay?
What
Not
is
only
going
is he going to
on?
call, he is going to see a bluff that's not even pocket 6s. He's going to see pocket 7s. So, very odd spot. Don't know what to say about this whatsoever.
What
How the
is
fuck,
going on here,
Owen,
man?
does this guy call his opponent down in this situation?
This is so absurd. I really like the play from pocket 7s. Unlucky, man.
But do you think calling the turn to basically bluff the river is a good play? Because that's effectively what
Yeah,
he's
I
doing
mean,
here. He's
like,
calling so that he can have more bluffs when checked to, right?
yeah. That's like, I really wonder what level this was on. These guys,
It's
like, because
very
this
hard to
could
say
be,
what the Jacks guy's thinking. I think
yeah,
it's
this
very
could be
hard to
some
understand.
like, yeah, this could be some deep in the button clicking, or it could be someone who has like a, could be yeah, two guys who really good feel for each other. So I think yeah, this is similar to it's similar to the last hand in the sense that like the 7s is just sort of sensing that the other guy is full of shit. But I prefer his way of doing it. I feel like, you know, if we compare this to the last hand, if the 7s like raise
It's
the
a credible
turn,
line, yeah.
yeah, I like if you raise the turn, it would leave me a lot more questions about what exactly is going on. Especially on this board, like on the other board, actually, it was like the turn raise was at least, you know, kind of credible for like queens or whatever. On this board, if you raise the turn, it would seem like complete.
Yeah. Strange one.
Really setting myself up for some leveling wars now. Like I'm just gonna get so many imposition turn raises with people. But whatever, they'll be fun.
This is an interesting one. I mean, they're all interesting hands that got submitted for the hand of the week.
I mean, like there is a running theme of like people just
Gone
sensing
wild.
weakness
Yeah.
and like ignoring their fucking combo. Like the board, the combo, nothing matters. They're weak. I'm winning this pot. Right, yeah.
Check this one out. So check after defending preflop against cutoff. Massive turn overbet for value here.
Oh,
Acceptable play, too spicy. Thoughts?
Like the problem with this, well, okay, there's a few problems with this. One, imposition 10 so often, like king 10, 8 and 10 so often. Like even if we not about the 9-7. That's like the first problem. This, and then the other thing is like what you're gonna do on river with this hand. Like, you know, sure you get called, you are ahead of the calling range, but you're gonna have to play a lot of river. Like,
yeah. That's a great
you know,
question,
like
huh?
that. I mean, okay, I was gonna say a 9 is coming, and he check jams throughout the queen jack. That was my my theory about how this hand
That
ends.
absolutely could be what he was planning on doing, but instead he gets ripped into it,
Oh wow!
and he's going to find the call. So what do you think about this? Is this a good combo to call with? Like, is his opponent repping like mostly queen jack? You know, like how thin
Yeah,
can
I mean,
his opponent
they're
go?
repping like only queen. They're repping only queen jack, and like the bluffs are going to be random pairs. So like the king is it's got to be the best one because like you're going to transfer bluff the other pairs. But this is this one's really fucking. I quite like. I quite like this. Like, there's this funny thing going on where like when someone uses this sort of size in position, it's also like even though like I've never played with this guy, I don't know who he is. It gives you an indication that like he's the kind of guy who'd be capable of bluffing a pair, right?
Sure,
Um,
yeah.
like boring blue liners don't use this size. So yeah.
Okay, so if you think
Oh,
he's fully
this
polar to Queen
doesn't.
Jack and that there's no real, hey, I can just have a 7 here and you're in a tough spot with 2
Well,
pair.
I mean, you could have a 7, but a 7 feels much more like a trick.
Okay.
Like a set, yeah. So I would say like Queen Jack is what it's supposed to be, and then using a 7 is a bit of a fuck you play because you think guys.
Okay. Yeah, he's going to call, and sort of a surprising bluff for the in position play. He's going to have floated turn, because remember, turn bet size is 2.5x. He's going to peel off ace queen high, drawing it a gut shot, praying to occasionally have the best hand and get to showdown. So not really sure what to think about the turn call. Sort of sets himself up, making a loose turn call to make such a river play, basically. I'm not sure. What
Yeah,
are your thoughts on the
that's
turn call there?
interesting. I mean, he does like 2.5x, but but like the pot was pretty small, and also it is still a draw to the nut at a deep SPR. Um, so yeah, it has some things going for it. Um, yeah, I mean, seems like it seems like the kind of thing that Solver's probably gonna like throw in occasionally. You float on the turn, not a pure float, but there'll probably be some low frequency of ace
Okay.
queen in there to like bluff rivers versus jack. Um,
And because I
yeah,
guess
yeah.
the
I mean,
overbetting range for the out of position on a jack is suffering, and it's nice to have the nuts without it being ace queen of diamonds or whatever.
yeah. I mean, it's always like when drawing to the super nuts with like a bit of showdown is quite nice. And then like if you get any of the rivers where um well also yeah actually the showdown doesn't really mean like you're just floating to steal it. Like if they have flush draw or whatever and they hit a pair on river, they're not going to get to show it. You're just um, quite an interesting hand.
Jacques 5. Ah, yeah, this is an interesting one. So let us know what you think about this. We're going to see the overbet C bet, this time at 150. And he's going to face a check raise. What are your thoughts on not folding this hand?
Like yeah, these guys really do like they really are going. I mean, I guess biased a bit.
Sorry,
Uh,
maybe speak up a little bit, mate. Just lost you on
yeah,
the...
yeah. I mean, like these guys are really going to war. Like from some of these hands. Okay, I mean, I can imagine what's going through his head. He's just like, he's like, well, you don't have ace queen, so like you're like an ace five is mostly gonna trap. So you're wrapping pocket fives, and I have a five. Um, and it's also like, yeah, if if someone is like inclined to play back at you, um, but like you're repping really polar, so it is very natural to like slow play the ace five, and then like they just don't really have the very natural fast play hands in range because ace queen is always free betting. So yeah, I can see why he's like I can see why he's like confused about how a raise is coming in when he has a five in his hand. It's quite yeah, it's actually it's like the instinct is to snap fold it, but then the more you start thinking about it, the more it's like, actually, am I beat here?
He will elect to call, potentially following some of your logic there.
Yeah, I was so getting ready to see a click war there. I was like,
Yeah,
so ready for
that's
the
the
click
theme of the
war.
video so far. But no, this time he's going to go into defense mode. Thinks he's got the
Yeah,
best hand. Now he faces kind of an awkward barrel size of 60. I guess maybe it's 2/3. He's going to face this sizing, and he is going to
yeah,
select
this
for
is just
the
rip. Yeah,
shove with minimal fold equity. I guess there's some chance his opponent has Jack 10 or King 10 and decides to bet like this and then faces a jam and, doesn't really have odds. That makes it a kind of disgusting later.
Yeah, it's so sad if they have like 10x of clubs here. It's so sad because then it's like such a nice play and you just got fucked. But um, yeah, like his blockers are just having a 5 here is so fucking nice compared to having an ace. So yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if he's actually like he's playing back super aggro with a 5, but maybe like he gets rid of an 8, like either on turn. Quite an interesting spot.
Yep, he is going to get called, unfortunately for him.
I mean, isn't he
But
off? Yeah, I was gonna say it's not really unfortunately. He's off in the head.
by the
Like,
Jack 7 of clubs, and he will get 1 copy of hold. They do run it twice, that's right. 2 copies of hold, so some justice for the good read here.
yeah, well fucking played. Okay, yeah, this one might be the new favorite. Yeah, no, in fact, it really has to be. This is so sharp.
Yes.
Like, okay, I don't know exactly what. It's hard to tell exactly how much of it was like intentional. You know, like was he thinking
Yeah, well,
about like?
here's the problem. So he submitted this hand. Okay, I'll give you a little bit of a spoiler. And I had to make a decision with some other people, like what hands are we going to put into this top 4 for the vote? And I saw this hand, and I was just like, this just looks like a flop fold. You know, it just looks like a fold. I mean, I'm a
Yeah.
washed player. You know, maybe I shouldn't have as much of an opinion. But the other guys who aren't washed were saying, yeah, I mean, this looks like a fold. Apparently, in theory, it's like some fractional flop call, so it is actually mostly a fold. But because of probably the ideas that you were saying, like this, he's mainly repping pocket 5s. This blocker does have enough reason to make it like a kind of neutral EV call on flop. And then, you know, he has the balls to go with it on the turn. So he gets kind of bad beat that we don't end up putting this hand into the top 4, because maybe he would have won. But, you know, it's just variance. It's not like we were maliciously trying to hold his hand back. I just didn't understand, like, for 1, and neither did the other guys who looked at it for 2. That this was a reasonable play. It just looked like a whale off, and then he gets lucky that he's ahead of a draw. You know, so I just thought it was. But on further reviews,
he's been robbed. Justice for Kiss My Ace.
Do you know what? You could set this right if you just ship him 500, mate. Okay. Feel free to ship him 500.
My mistake. Was it my mistake now?
No, but look, you're a giver of justice. Maybe you can buy yourself some karma for $500, mate. We'll discuss this later. Yeah, bad beat for the man, unfortunately.
Yeah, he played that so fucking well.
So we've got a nice. I always love to see this, a limped BVB. So min pot. What is going to happen here? A straight draw. What are we going to do here? We're going to get aggressive.
300 bigs deep. You'll love to see it.
300 BB deep. We're going to see a check call on flop. Okay, so $20 pot heading to the turn. Can't be that interesting, can it? $25 bet. Okay, so
Right,
we got the 125.
We have a pure fold. Wait, this is calling?
We're going to call the turn. Okay, we got king high, mate. Could be good.
Okay.
And on the river
to be
queen.
fair, king high limp pot.
King high limped pot. We're going to face a 3x overbet. We're going to make the hero call here. Okay, so you could just say that this doesn't make sense or does make sense or whatever. But we are going to get shown.
Sort of bluff though, right? yeah.
A hand that we beat.
Nice fucking hand.
The trap line with king 4 on the 7-6-5 working out. I wonder how many hands like this got played that didn't work out. You don't see these ones. We do have a subcategory in our forum, though, Owen, called the Wall of Shame, where people do post some hands where they get wrecked. Quite a funny sub forum in the Discord.
Yeah, I mean, I think that this like these kind of hands they're really hard to evaluate because there's like a bunch of reasons he could have called this down, which may or may not be right. Whereas I think the Jack 5 one, I think I know what was going through his head, and like if at least what I think he was thinking, then that one was super fucking clean. Whereas this one, it's like he could just be on tilt and be like, "Fuck you." It could also be like it could also be a really nice call, but it's like it's a lot more ambiguous when you see this.
Yeah, I mean the best guess is sort of what you said already, which is that he's just thinking, okay, this is a limped pot. Would my opponent bluff ace high in a limped pot, or would he just be looking to take showdown on an earlier street? Probably he would take the showdown. Okay, So I beat some hands like an 8 or a 9 that could triple off for 3. He could easily have those with an undercard or like 9-4,
Yeah.
9-3, the weird double gutter.
There's like a real chance that this like in fact there's like a probability that this hand doesn't exist in a vacuum, you know? That it is something that there's some history which led him to think that this would be a good spot to pull down
Absolutely.
against this player.
Absolutely, yeah.
And so then without knowing that, it's hard to tell. But yeah, still nice hand. Also, you know, always appreciate someone having the balls to put in a lot of money with a very shit hand when they think their opponent's full of shit. Makes content good, fun poker.
Yeah. We got one more hand from this submissions category. We have actually 5 other or 6 other actual hands, but this one was one that was submitted by this bear in hands lad. Okay, checking back king high, turning a draw, facing a massive bet, slow play.
My God, they really were studying.
And then facing a monster bet on river, shoving over the top. And his opponent is going to find a bet fold of top
Yes,
2,
my
feeling
guy.
like it's underbluffed. Is he repping a checked back set? Is that a bit of what's happening here with the flop and turn play? Or why is his opponent able to find logic to fold here?
You know,
Like, what's your thought on what's happening in this hand, Owen, exactly?
doesn't Jack like? Isn't most of what he's rapping Jack?
I have no clue, man. You're gonna have to tell me.
I don't know. I mean, what? So he could have. I mean, wait, 9-7. Was this with ante? This was no ante.
No ante, man. Yep, first week
Okay,
of the
no ante.
challenge, all
So
of these are
there's
no ante hands.
no 9-7 of diamonds. So it's basically just like queen 9, which is often good. Okay, so he has like some combos of queen 9. It's going to be hard to say exactly how many, like, but it's not the full 4. So often see that maybe I won't raise the and then Jack 10 is just very often going to check back the flop, being like, you know, one of the weak. Although it's only Jack 10 suited combos, but like, I mean, wouldn't you just jam Jack 10 here? Like when the guy goes 150? Maybe not. So then maybe the Jack 10 just thinks it's behind and the blockers are no good and no one ever bluffs this line. Could see it. But again, what I was saying earlier, like these guys are like these guys are fucking rocketing off. You know, I would not like. This is not the kind of. It's not the kind of atmosphere where I'd be sitting in there just like looking to make massive hero folds constantly. I don't think. I don't get the impression that's the winning strategy from all the hands I'm seeing. Although again, sample bias, we are looking at like the coolest hands. Also, people only send hands to me privately when something weird happens.
Yeah,
People don't
true.
just
It's
the
tougher
average
to
one. So
judge.
yeah, maybe I have a skewed view on this. This is a bit of a wild hero fold though. You're just not you're just not losing to very much at all. It's just so hard to be beat when you have Jack 10 here. And there's so many hands he could bluff, right? Like there's so many reasonable candidates for a bluff and unreasonable ones. That I'm pretty confused by this. I mean, if he had a weaker hand and he was thinking, oh, I lose to both Queen 9 and I lose to their Jack 10, and then also maybe thinking, I don't know, but like at least, yeah. I don't. I'm confused. This fold. But also that might just be heads up brain. Like you know, just like playing heads up. I look at top 2 with maybe too much affection compared to playing like versus the low jack at like a very deep SPR. I don't know, this one's very confusing to me. I don't know how jack much.
Mate, come with me on a little trip. We're going to have a look at a guy's graph. This is Sherry Sweet, younger British lad. I'm not sure if you know him. Goes by Cherry Mix, I think, on ACR. Do you know this guy?
It doesn't. Oh,
Okay.
pretty nice graph.
Pretty nice graph, indeed. Pretty nice graph. Off to a solid start. He's in the top 10 among our current finishers. We judge it in EV, so he's winning more than he's actually up in EV. But he's still in the top 10. He's putting in reasonable volume, over 30k hands played so far. And he is going to play a hand against Stefan, which is quite interesting. And we're going to view that hand from his perspective.
Love it. Still opening the 6-5 suited with Decky and Stefan in the blinds.
Yeah, mix it in, call it low frequency. He's going to face a 20 BB 3-bet. And these guys are sitting, he's covered by Stefan, just for what it's worth. So they're 420 plus or 440-ish deep.
3-bet, even 20 big, I guess.
What do you think about folding pre with this? Two puss?
So it plays too well again.
So you like a call, basically?
Yeah, you open it mixed, but then if you get 3-bet, you just take it.
And you might be a little far away from the mic again.
You just fold more of the suited broadways, I think. I think this.
Yep, fair enough. Makes a lot of sense. Deep in position on Steffi. Interesting spot.
Yeah. But as you get deep, 6 high flushes start having reversing wide odds.
Yep.
It's like.
I guess I'll start you off on this this play. So we're gonna see the decision that he makes instead of discussing the option. He's going to go ahead and find a little raise here, quite deep, in position on Stefan. Thoughts on this play? Like, what kind of reaction might we get from Stefan when we make this smaller flop raise? Are we accomplishing some things? Like, what exactly is happening? Tell some of the viewers what's going on here. 400 BB deep.
Kind of interesting. It's a very small size, so he's repping some more protection-based raises, and then he can get more polar to like 2 pairs on later streets. But this is just saying he wants to clean up overcards. With a hand like Ace Jack could be in there. Queen be reasonable to raise. Get Eyes 8 fold, get value.
You might have to talk more into the mic, sorry. I think it's cutting out a little bit.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, especially when deep in position raising in 3-bet pots is much more of a thing. So yeah, and like the hand choice seems pretty reasonable as well.
Are you at all scared that if Steffi has like kings and aces, he might just click it back and start like trying to put in all 400 of these blinds?
Yeah, if there was someone who was gonna, it's definitely Steffi. At the same time though, it is pretty scary to try and get in a bunch of money with just a 1-pair hand, like facing a polar raising range.
Well, do you think he's polar though? Because before you were saying he's basically repping some protection raises
not like
and stuff.
polar, but like uncapped.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, nonetheless, this time Stefan will just call, and we will see a king on the turn, and we'll also see a lead from Stefan. So pressure back on to Sherry Sweet here. Bottom pair facing 40% turn.
Yeah, this is quite interesting.
How do you feel about facing this bet down? I mean, do we have a potential fold? Is it too good of a price? Do we still beat hands potentially like ace queen, maybe even ace 10 backdoor? Like, what's going through your head facing this complicated bet from Stefan?
Folding seems reasonable, calling seems reasonable, raising seems reasonable. There's a lot of.
You're going for the Doug Polk approach to this hand.
Yeah, I think in this spot you can kind of do whatever you want. Like the price is good enough for you to try and float, and like you can show down on some rivers, bluff on others. But I mean, yeah, you also you have some outs against like most of Stefan's range. I mean, obviously he can have a set and you're just drawing dead, um, but yeah, like most of the time you have some equity. Like the blockers are pretty good as well. Like you're like really unblocking all the bluffs, like all the folding range. So yeah,
Okay.
seems like a decent. But like at the same time, you also got one of the worst cards in the deck. You could just fold. Like that's also allowed. Yeah,
Well, he
you don't have
listens
to
to
win
your
every pot.
first thought, and he's going to call, and then he's going to see a 10 on the river. Stefan with the check. I mean,
Yeah, I mean
what are
this
you
is
going to
one of those
do?
rivers I was thinking of where yeah you get like one of like 10, a 9, or an 8. You're probably just gonna blast it in. Um, so yeah, I imagine he just shoves here. Um, and then yeah, I mean hard to guess what he does given that I can't see his cards. I mean, maybe he check calls like Queen 10 or something. Oh, check call with King Jack. Yeah, that's
Kind of
pretty
interesting,
smart.
kind of respectful, like checking and assuming his opponent is going to turn a bunch of hands into a bluff on this river. Or maybe he's just
Yeah,
thinking he wants to
yeah.
protect his like one pair hands, like a turned ace king, betting for value, then being unsure, and expecting his opponent to try and move him off some of those, etc.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and it's also like it's the kind of yeah. I mean, like Steffi can definitely imagine like he's so used to running all these raises in position that he's gonna like hands like 6-5 or like other of the more spewier bluffs on early streets will occur to him, and then when you get this kind of river, I can see him realizing that like if he does have one of the more spewy ones, like this is this is my way to get a stack. Like if he has 7-6, getting his stack anyway. Um, I don't know if that's like a completely sure thing. Um, like I don't know if 7-6 like, this bump jams in on river, but probably against Stefan, people will take their chances. Um, but yeah, quite a nice quite nicely played hand from him. Yeah, just like having the awareness that your opponent is going to show up with this kind of stuff and like piloting against you.
Okay, let's look at another couple of hands with Stefan. Okay, what goes on here? Ace King, facing a 3-bet, very deep, going to 4 and get called. Flops top pair. Steffi comes out long and strong. 80% flop bet, 75% flop bet, something healthy.
Wait, sorry. Wait,
4-bet
80% flop
large
lead?
pre, yes. So it's going to go large 4-bet
Okay.
pre,
Okay, yeah.
call. Don't read too much into the timings. He's not snap donking in game, but in this replay he is. Donking large here. These guys are so deep. I mean, they're almost 6 buy-ins deep to start the hand. The workings of a monster pot. What do you think about this large flop bet against the 4-betting range on this board?
Um. Oh, it doesn't feel like a thing in theory.
Yeah, you reckon?
Like
I
sometimes
actually
you
feel like
get
it would
some.
be. Like, because the guy with AA is not loving this flop, right?
Yeah, but I think their equity's holding up well enough. Although actually, yeah, when they're super deep and like the imposition player has like half kings, very little queens in 10, and then you have them all pure.
Yeah, and ace jack suited.
Mm,
I mean, ace jack suited could also
yeah,
5-bet, oh sorry, 4-bet large pre, but it's probably more standard to call, right?
yeah. I mean, like imposition will have some ace jack though. Um, mix 4-bet or fold pre. Uh, so yeah, actually, more I'm thinking about it, more this is maybe actually pretty cool to
It
use
certainly
because
doesn't
like
feel
ace.
good if you have ace king and they're betting massive into your face here in the 600 BBD pot. But he
Yeah, but
will,
then you look at the screen name.
Yeah, well, the screen name could help call down for sure. He's going to call the flop. He's going to hit a king, so he's probably feeling pretty good right now. But Stefan continues the pressure, so he's, you know, sneaking suspicion. Potentially, I don't have the best hand, but it is a massive caller if I'm beat. It is Stefan. Obviously, he cannot fold the turn for half pot. Calls, and then the bad news comes. Stefan going to decide actually not to jam, though, which would be an additional, what, like less than 30 BB? So interesting decision. I don't know, do you want to segue and go on a tangent here? Discuss the
I think
non-jam
that's
sizing
fucking
in these
nonsense.
spots? Do you have any thoughts on such a play?
I think it's complete fucking nonsense.
Like, you think it
Are
doesn't
you
make
sure
a
that's not
difference,
just
or
the
you think
last
it's
of
a
Steffi's
bullshit
stack?
bet?
Wait,
I
are you
am
sure that's not just the last
100%
of
sure
Steffi?
it's not.
Okay, wow, like, no, this is fucking...
I mean, this is some sort of leveling shit, right?
Hey, already clicked. I mean, I guess, like, strategy of jamming is higher EV here, though. Like, I'm all for running, like, fun exploits, but I think this bollocks. There's no real... I've not heard a convincing argument.
Back in my day, I would
Uh,
sometimes like I would bet everything except $1 into a fish because I felt like it could confuse them and make them want to call a higher percentage than if I just jammed, you know?
Yeah, I mean, someone was telling me that like against a certain kind of fish, you should do it. Just give them 2 buttons to punt to you, so they can click
Bet
the
one
call and
cent
the
less
raise to
than
get
all
stacked.
in just to max the EV that they have one additional misclick target that favors you.
Yeah, or it's just like 2 bright buttons which say lose big amount of money for them to. Yeah, just I don't know. I mean,
That is funny.
obviously, I
I've
have
never
no
thought
idea
about
whether
doing
that
it.
works or
Quite
not,
funny.
but as it as a theory, it's quite fun. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I hate this personally.
Okay, so no real read there. I mean, what about as the ace king man? You know, is there any chance we can fold this? Like Steffi repping very strong here, 600 BB deep. It's a 3.5 buy-in river bet. Can we
Yeah,
fold or just not possible?
I would think this is. I think this is foldable. As in, you know, you could decide to fold it, but that doesn't mean I think you should. The ace of spades is probably an unblocker to bluffs because he'll give up the nut flush draw and like spew off like other stuff. Not that he really. I mean, it's like a couple of ace five, ace four combos, and then also the non-nut flush draw ones. Maybe give up. No, actually, I think if they have a non-nut flush draw one, they just like don't bet them that often on turn, but when they do, they through. That'll be.
He is not going to fold.
Yeah, I mean, I could imagine that. I feel like
Steffi
Steffi
with
has it
value
again.
one time.
Yeah,
Must be
I
nice.
felt like
Wins a
I felt like
5.5
yeah.
grand pot, 11 buy-in pot, the largest pot of the event so far. And yeah, pretty rough spot for the sloppy woppy gentleman.
That felt pretty fucking strong. Like, see, I mean, thinking about it, he has like, actually, I can kind of see how you end up calling that though, because he's gonna have all the aces, but a lot of the ace king will flat free.
Yeah.
So if you just think of it in terms of how tempting is it for Steffi to bluff this off, well, it actually kind of is because when you like, you're gonna have aces more often than ace king, and so then if you're only calling the king, you're probably overfolding.
Yeah. I think.
So it actually seems like, actually, yeah. At first, I was like, wow, this like, oh my god, like we have top trips, and it's so fucking obvious he's stackers. But it's funny now that I've seen he has queens, and now I'm walking myself back to actually, you know what? Like I could see what he would think like second game. It's not like we always have ace king in that spot. Even like quite often.
So here's another one with Steffi, also deep. This time, he's not going to have value. We're going to be playing another big pot. 3.5 blinds deep, 3-bet pre-flop. Healthy bet on flop, 80% pot or so, gets called. Turn the ultimate brick. What do you think about this barrel sizing here? Standard? Like what do you use in such a spot deep as the 3-better facing
Yeah,
MP caller?
this makes sense. Yeah, you just want to be roughly geometric, and this looks about right. Yeah, like it's about 125% pot, and it leaves like one pot on river, so it's close.
And what do you think about Queen Jack specifically for a bluff? Like to me, it looks like he's just saying, "Oh, I block queens and jacks, a couple of my opponent's
Yeah,
best hands." So
yeah.
it's
He has some
that
overcards
simple.
to the weaker. Yeah, he has overcards to the weaker pocket pairs as
Mm-hmm.
well. He's like unblocking all of the floats which are folding now, I think. Um,
But Ace King though, do
so
you think Ace King is kind of forced to continue blocking aces and kings? It's quite an interesting hand to hold.
yeah, I mean Ace King. So often in these spots, like if you're up against a pure polar range, then Ace King is a much better cooldown for in position. But out of position, like takes their own Ace King sometimes to make
Indifferent
you
with
defend
yours.
pocket pairs. Yeah, so
Okay.
they bluff off some Ace Kings just to make sure that you can't like fold tens, call Ace King. You have to like also
Okay. Yeah, interesting. I
that
like how the
that's
solver ends up kind of finding that line with itself.
yeah. Like goes to war to make sure that you can't bluff catch two of it.
All right, his opponent will call, and then we're going to see quite an interesting river card. Not the ace, but the king. How does this card affect your decision making with Stefan's potential bluff queen jack?
Um, well, I think it does open up different sizes because
You thinking of a block or?
yeah, you could block here repping the queens. Uh, so yeah, I suspect it would be an overplay to shove queens. Like it would definitely be an overplay to get in jacks, I would imagine at this point. Definitely. Yeah, it really does feel like a play. Um, so I think it does give some different options. Also, it's interesting given that like all these king chop with each other, and imposition's gonna have ace king quite often. That maybe when you have a king, you want to use a non-all-in size, but that feels like that's kind of hard to say. And I feel like the way Stan plays, he would just pile if he rivered a king. Uh, yeah,
Yeah, I
I
guess
doubt
that's
he
the
would.
biggest question of this hand because Stefan is going to jam. And he will actually unluckily run into the flopped full house of pocket sevens. But basically, should he shove the river with some of those hands like you're talking about, like a rivered king, like a pocket queens? Obviously, aces feels like quite nice to jam, right? But even then, like you block ace
Yeah,
king with
yeah.
aces.
Aces is very clean. If you have a rivered king, I mean, well, the positions are quite tight. I think ace king is actually it's just a very intuitive call too. Um, so what that's going to be like? That's going to be so much of the calling range for imposition.
Hmm.
So yeah, it does feel like it would actually be quite a nice, incredible spot to come up with a block bet size here. It's often the kind of spot where it's like if someone does block, it's because they have exactly queens and it's easy to forget it existed. But then the pot odds are so fucking good. Do you know what I mean? Like I'm saying, look how credible it is, but then it's like you got Steffi's name tag and you give someone a good price in like a very big pot like that. Yeah,
Yeah,
they
if
might just
Steffi blocks a river and his opponent has like any bluff catcher, which he obviously has after calling the turn bet, it feels like Steffi is just getting zero folds for a block. It feels like if
yeah. I
Steffi has
mean,
pocket queens and he jams, he's going to get called by worse hands as well. I mean, obviously he's
well, I
just
mean,
going to
if
run
that's the
into ace
case, he
king all
should
day
be
though, which is an issue.
if he's getting zero folds, he should definitely be blocking a king. Like because you do get folds when you jam it in here. Um, Also, you could like just block call a king, just hoping that they would like, hoping they'll just like
What are they going to bluff with
like
the eights? You know, like ace eight of
yeah.
hearts. You know, it's not that
Like,
easy to
dude,
find a
come on,
bluff.
like what? How many different punt offs have we seen?
Well, true.
Yeah,
True,
I mean,
sir.
okay, we are watching the highlights, but like, I think it wouldn't be outrageous to just block a king thinking it's like, oh yeah, they're gonna pay me, and then I'm just free rolling the punt. Like, hopefully they do. Um, so yeah, I mean, I feel like aces is the only hand which like clearly wants to just pile.
Yeah. And even then, I mean, blocking ace king, it's sort of similar to having a rivered king, like due to the combo removal.
Oh, yeah. True.
Um, okay, I wanted to show you, Owen, actually, I want to show you this player you mentioned. You said you played a little bit with him on, I believe it was ACR. We don't need to discuss what his screen name is or anything, but Venator from this challenge.
Mhm.
This man,
Yeah.
I'm going to show you something where I don't feel like it's right for me to show the audience here. I will edit this out post.
Yeah, this seems about right.
I don't want to show you the audience this, so maybe also refrain from commenting specifically on what you're about to see. But I personally am very impressed with what's in front of my eyes, specifically this. Look at this. Okay, so this is divided into anti and non-anti, and we're seeing he's also played more at anti, which is cool. These are his stats in non-anti. Like, that is some powerful fucking stuff. And then look at it at anti. And then have a look right
Jesus.
over
What?
here, so boom, boom. Okay. I mean, it's working. It's working for the man. And he is going to
Guy's
play a
absurd.
pot against Stefan, okay? They're sitting 200 deep. He's going to raise pre. Stefan is going to re-raise. And just for some context here, okay? Just for some context, he's going to re-raise this, by the way. A massive re-raise pre-flop. Just for some context, and again, away from the eyes of the viewer, I'm going to show you the statistics of our good man Stefan. And please note this one, okay? So Stefan
Oh yeah,
kind
yeah.
of setting himself almost a handicap. He plays so many hours. He plays every table, and he plays extremely loose and aggressive statistics. Although I will note this a little bit lackluster, unfortunately.
It is quite
So
hard to
Venator,
keep all of the stats up together.
well,
They start pulling each other back,
it's unbelievable if he can. It's really unbelievable to keep something like that up and have it work. But Venator, who we've seen putting something together that looks quite nice, is going to find a monstrous 4-bet here, 200 BB deep, face a click, and send it over the top. Stefan snapping in his money, ace king off. Venator king 3. Okay, so one of the men who, honestly, in my opinion, looks like the biggest threat to win it all, he is making moves out here with a king 3 suited for a 6-bet jam, 200 BB deep against one of the looser, more aggressive opponents that he has. So very cool to see from my perspective. Kind of the old school play of like, hey, look, you're too loose, I'm going to re-raise you. Oh, you re-raise me? Yes, I think you're full of shit. I jam my random fucking hand. You know, this is the leveling war of poker that I sort of grew up with. What are your thoughts on having king 3? Like, do you go deep into stuff like this ever? Or are you always just kind of like keeping it simple pre-flop and saying, well, I don't need to do that with
he
this
could have
hand?
folded he could have folded this hand how many times? He could have like it's a mixed frequency open. And then, so like he could have folded then. No. Definitely should fucking fold to the 3-bet. Folding to the 5-bet, yes, get the fuck out. Like, I kind of love it. Like, I mean,
I think it's a very interesting hand to rip
yeah.
personally because the Kong blocker, it's almost better than an ace because he
No, no, no,
unblocks a
no.
lot
That
of
you're
the
not gonna
ace.
sell me on that, man.
No, I'm
You're
gonna
not gonna
sell you.
sell
I'm
me on
gonna
that.
sell you on the Kong blocker here, okay, against Steffi. This guy is going absolutely bonkers, okay, and he's obviously willing to put to 4-bet call ace king off for value. So the Kong blocker does block the ace king off. It unblocks a lot of ace x, which Steffi can obviously hit with that 5-bet click. So I feel like the king is just pure goodness, whereas if we have an ace here, it's actually got a little bit of negative property. So that's
Yeah,
my
but
thinking about the Kong block. It feels like it
okay,
has that little bit more value than normal. Like obviously this isn't a standard play, but
like okay, when he 5 bets you, it's gonna be like it's gonna be all the aces pretty much, or like 80% of the aces, and only like I mean, well, I assume with the meta these guys have got going on, it might have all the kings as well. But also just having an extra like if you have ace three and you get it in versus kings, you've actually got like you're not in absurdly bad shape, right? That's okay. It's not good, especially deep, but you have a decent amount of equity. If you get king three in versus aces, you're fucked. Like, and that equity swing is like so bad. Like we're not on the river. We're not on the river. Like blockers are a thing, but like that equity is so important. Um, so yeah, every time you get this in versus aces, and you're just like you have 15% less equity than you should really like playing like the inverse of it. Um, also like that, yeah, there's just way more chance flats king aces. I think the dynamic these guys have got going on. I would imagine like ace goes for it every time.
I would like to crossbook the King 3 man with the big blind handicap if you're interested. I have pure faith in the King blocker, and I have pure faith in the man
Am
who
I allowed
uses
to
it.
go hunt him?
Are you allowed to go hunt him? No, that's not very fair, mate. Come on. Start 5-bet
uh,
clicking him with random hands. See
no,
if he
no,
keeps
no.
up.
I will 5-bet click him with the nuts. Yeah, that's the plan.
I feel like he's not doing this play against everyone,
Yeah, I agree.
But yeah, super interesting. For me, this stuff is like I find it more interesting than
Yeah,
some of the
like
post flop
okay,
because,
it's
like you say,
fun.
like it's so bad when he gets called by like aces, whatever. It's just so awful. And that risk, when it's a non-standard play pre-flop, where your opponent can just be playing reasonable if they want to, it's just very interesting to deviate in these spots. I respect the balls that it takes to go through with plays like this. And I think people like this who aren't scared and willing to sort of challenge themselves and their opponent into the next click, these are the people that I back in today's games. If they can do it with their head on their shoulders. Like some people just
I
click
think.
and spew and don't give a fuck. But this guy seems like
Well,
he
I
knows what
think.
he's doing.
Well, if you take someone like Flushy as an example, right?
Hmm.
Flushy's perfectly capable of doing this shit, but it's not compulsive. He's also capable of playing very relaxed, chill, solid poker. And to me, that's what really makes someone hard to deal with. Is when they could go absolutely fucking mental, but only when the stars align. And they'll notice it if they do, but they're not like there's no ego about it. Like there's not like
It's a good way to put it.
which I'm not saying, I don't know this guy, but I'm just saying in general, a lot of the guys who get into like these massive wars like there's or like there can be an element of both projection and also like just like not
Chasing the
wanting to
high
get
even.
outdone. Yeah, it just feels like from from some of the stuff you were showing me that this guy isn't exactly pumping the brake. It feel and when it's go 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 all of the time, you're way more vulnerable to all the types of pushback that people can find against you than you are if you're like picking your picking your spots and like being accurate about the times when you should actually do something dumb. Um, so yeah, I on the one hand, well, to be fair, it is really hard to teach people to like sense weakness and go after it just like with reckless abandon. So when I'm coaching people, I would always much rather start with someone like this and then try to teach them technical play and restraint rather than trying to teach someone with too much restraint how to go and like torch it off. But I think when you're like, yeah, so a lot of these type of players hit like a ceiling at a certain point. Um, when like the continuous aggression starts running into people who are like technically sharp enough that can't just run them over, and then you're just bleeding too much because of the size of the mistakes is quite.
Yep. Tough one, man. Thank you so much for joining. These hands were pretty interesting, and more hands to look at than we usually do. So we did skip through a bit of your analysis, but it was just more. It was interesting to see more hands and see your reactions to some of the hands and
Yeah,
show
there
you
were,
what these players are up to and shit. So yeah.
yeah, there was a lot of gangster Wild West poker going on. You know, we left the technical shit at the high stakes sword championship. This is where real men play.
Yeah, for sure, bro.